Welcome to this episode on the Health and Happiness Show, where it's my mission to change your mindset so that you can live a healthy and happier life. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's go. I am here joined by Clara. Clara, you have just graduated from the 16-week Health and Happiness Academy. How do you feel right now?
I just can't believe how fast it's go. I can't believe we're at the end already. I remember getting halfway through and thinking, "Oh, this is great." What am I gonna do when this ends? Everything was going so well. Going so well, and then the last while is just flew past so quickly, and it's just crazy to think how far I've come in 16 weeks. Really, that's quite a short space of time, in the grand scheme of things, and to compare myself today to how I was whenever I signed up to the academy, the change is just incredible. And I'm doing things now and feeling things now that I never would have thought I ever would have felt 16 weeks ago. So it's just really, really good.
The time has flown by, which I guess is kind of scary because time just disappears, right? And if you to look at what you've had to sort of achieve in one of the most difficult, challenging times, health-wise, economically, and so forth, that makes all of your wins and all your accomplishments even more impressive. What I want to do is I want to take you back to our very first call. We were on the discovery call, and I vaguely remember, you're in a vulnerable place. I think you're even crying during the call. And that's okay because it just says to me the level of emotion involved in the change that you wanted to see. So maybe just take us back to who was Clara, say, 4 months ago? What were you struggling with then? And how have you overcome those struggles during the last 16 weeks?
I think if I go back 16 weeks ago, the biggest thing that comes to me is that I just wasn't truly happy. I was doing all these things that I felt I should be doing, and I had everything that I felt should have, that have a person should have, a great family and a boyfriend and great friends and a nice car and a stable job. But to me, it just wasn't enough. I was always looking for something else, and in doing that I was just constantly putting pressure on myself, and I just had no time for me. I was too busy focusing all this time and energy on other things that it was just draining me. And I think that the biggest problem was I was craving so much from everyone else and so much from everything else I did that I essentially wasn't focusing on me. And over the last 16 weeks, I've just sort of really learned to put myself before everything else. It doesn't matter who's shouting at you in work or what needs done. It doesn't matter, you know, how badly your friends want to go out. If it doesn't make me feel good, then what's the point in doing it? And that's the biggest lesson, is to always put me first. I always felt that I was letting people down, and that was my biggest fear. I always was so scared of letting people down, but in the process I was really just letting myself down, and nearly anyone that I was doing stuff for wasn't really appreciating how much I was putting into it. But yeah, so that's the biggest thing, is I've learned to sort of love myself and to put myself first, and in doing that I think people appreciate then what I do so much more.
So to the person listening to this, they may on look, hearing that and say, but isn't that selfish to put yourself first? Isn't that, almost borderline arrogance to put yourself before other people? What would you say to that, having been in both positions now, whereby you've been that person who gives to everyone else, but not themselves, and having, learned the importance of actually self-care? What would you say to that person who believes it's selfish to put yourself before other people?
The best example I can think of this, for me putting myself, or me putting other people before myself, was um people would want to do things and I would try and squeeze everything into the day to the point it was leaving me with, say, 5 hours sleep. And that was happening every night. So then I was getting 5 hours sleep, waking up tired, doing things tired, going to bed tired, and then waking up tired again. And that was destroying like my health, both physically and mentally. So something as simple as like getting that actual proper night's sleep is putting yourself first. um I would have said, take, if someone had asked me to do something and I'd said no, I would have said that was very selfish, because was me putting myself first. But then I started to realize that quite a lot of the time you would ask someone else to do something and they'd happily say no, and it never really fazed me. I was like, right, okay, fair enough. So why would I let it faze me if I had to say no? So I will never go back to that way of putting someone for me, because what I've learned last week is by taking care of yourself and putting the right things into your body, you get so much more out. And that is the key. It is key. You can't serve someone else unless you're, to the best of your ability, unless you're serving yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And even just hearing that is so powerful because it's a mindset. And obviously, that's been a large center focus for you over the last 4 months. I remember at the start of this process, that is an area that you just wanted to change. And I remember specifically you saying, you just wanted to become more positive, and, you felt very negative, either about, it was either about your work or people around you, and you wanted to make that change. What would you say, that biggest change has been for you to your mindset over the last 4 months, and how has that sort of added value in your life?
I think I before I was so focused on how I felt and why I felt like crap and why I was so down, and I was so focused on that I never really realized with people around me. So the biggest thing for me over the 16 weeks was actually stopping and thinking, right, okay, well, I feel crap because someone's done something to me, but why have they reacted like that? The biggest thing for me was actually taking on board how someone else is feeling or someone else thinks. So things would get me down. Someone, in work, would give me grief about, doing something wrong, or, something like that. And it's like, well, and they maybe just didn't present themselves in the best way. So now I can sort of stop and be like, right, okay, well, why have you reacted like that? Why can't you just say, okay, here's the problem, fix it? Why have you had to lash out, or why have you had to react that way? And then I realized that, they have their own issues as well, and they probably didn't mean it, and they probably aren't thinking about it. They probably have just said that and got on with their life. So why am I sitting here thinking, oh, why are they being so mean to me? Like, what have I done? Um, it's the same with, um, quite often as a young girl, you get caught up a lot in, gossiping and, bringing other girls down. And that has been one of the biggest things for me as well, that I've been surrounded by girls who have just tore and tore and tore into someone else. And I am now able to stop and be like, well, why are you reacting like that? And it's because you're unhappy with yourself, and that's why you have to feel like you need to bring someone else down. And it just, I don't know, it just creates a much more positive environment for me, because I can stop and think, right, okay, why are you getting on, why are you acting like that, what is your issue? And I nearly feel bad for the other person and what they're projecting onto me, instead of feeling bad in myself. So yeah, that's been the biggest mindset change from before to now. And it's the same with everything. Just if you take a second just to stop and think why something's happening, and instead of just reacting and responding how you immediately want to, if you just take a minute to think about it and be like, right, okay, well, there's two sides to every story, here's how I feel, and then think it out, and then everything's fine.
Yeah, 100%. I remember something which really resonated with you, and this is basically what you're talking about, is that law of 33%.
Yes.
And how that awareness about people who will bring you down mentally and all of those bits and bobs, these are sort of being the stepping stones to your progression that I've overseen over the last 4 months, which has been absolutely amazing. I would love to know what was the biggest struggle for you? I always have to ask this question because I never want to paint this picture that the academy is this rosy, sunny
Mm,
journey. Like it's bloody hard, and
mm.
everyone who goes through it faces some sort of hurdle, if not hurdles. So, what was your biggest struggle over the last 4 months? And most importantly, how did you overcome that?
Um, well, probably was my biggest struggle. The biggest struggle was probably just believing in myself, because I would do all these great things and then all of a sudden I'd be like, oh, flip, can I really do this? Can I really continue this? Like, it's all okay now, being in lockdown and having all the time in the world, but whenever things go back to normal, or the new normal, am I just gonna throw this all out the window? So the biggest struggle for me was actually trying to just properly implement things and really get it into a solid routine so that whenever things did go back to normal or back to wherever is going to happen, that um I could transfer those skills with me and bring them through life, because you do all these things. It's like paying a load of money to go to a PT and then losing all the weight, and then you stop the PT and then it's like, are you just going to put all the weight back on again? I didn't want that. I didn't want that from the academy. So the biggest struggle for me was taking what I learned and actually implementing it so that I can carry it through the rest of my life. And that it's really important for me that I do that, and that I don't just, get a month down the line outside of the academy and decide, oh, I'm just going to go back to that really negative person I was before, because
So,
I don't want that.
what rituals, routines do you now have in relation to health, fitness, mindset, nutrition that's going to allow you to continue those habits that you've built 5 years down the line? Because I completely
Mm,
agree, sustainability has to be at the front. There's no point starting something if you can't stick to it long term. So,
mm.
what habits, routines, rituals have you created that you can now stick to for the foreseeable?
Well, if I take a normal day, um, before it would have been right, okay, so my boss leaves in whatever time, I'll get up half an hour before, get ready, run. Now my new routine is to actually get up in the morning and be able to just get up and chill out and tidy a bit and have time to myself and just take it easy and get ready. And immediately that starts your day off completely different, because you have that rush, 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 and then you get into work and you're like, oh, all flustered. See if I can get up and just like chill and like just go with the flow and get in. Like, it starts your day off so much better. You're ready. You're not thinking about a million different things. You're ready to work. And there actually was a morning where I slept in. I like paused the alarm. I'll do it. That's the thing you don't learn in the academy, how to how to not sleep in. I slept in and rush, 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 and I was like, get on the bus, oh my word, get to work, and it was just a big fluster, and I was like, oh, and then it took a minute to like for me to just stop and be like, why am I feeling like this? It's because it's late. So that's the first thing, is getting up and spending more time for me instead of just firing it out. Things like just being more active. So a prime example of that would be get off the bus. Like, I get off the bus a few steps earlier. Like, I never get on. There's a bus stop right outside my work. Like, literally, I have to walk like 200 meters. I never get the bus there. I'll go around and get maybe 2,000 steps in at a different bus stop and get on there, and just like getting out in nature. Well, I mean nature. It's Belfast City Centre, but getting out in the fresh air is just so much nicer. You just get time to breathe and think. So definitely that. I try to walk every day as well, but even just the small wee bit of like air every day helps. If I couldn't get a walk in when I came home, I've tried to go to the gym more regularly, and to the point where I come home from work and I don't think about it. I just go and do it. It's not like a before it would have been like, oh, I have to go to the gym, like, oh, I can't be bothered. I just get up and I go. And not every day I'm like, yes, let's go. I'm like so excited. Some days I am like, but I just know in my head that
You have
half
the
an hour,
discipline
40
now.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Stuff like that. What else? Another ritual I have implement it is just keeping everything tidy. I feel like whenever my room's a mess, my head's a mess. So I just like to keep everything tidy. What else I do? Fill my body with good foods and a lot of water, because as I said earlier, what you put into what you get out, and it just feels so much nicer, you know, having sitting down and like having nice food that you enjoy, as opposed to just like throwing a ready meal or like a big chocolate bar into, because you do feel a bit rubbish after that. And then at night get a good sleep. Like sleep is, I never really realized. Everyone's like, oh, 8 hours sleep, you need to get it, you need to get it. And I'm like, oh, I'm all right running 6, it's fine, cup of coffee. But like, see, at 8 hours sleep or even 7 hours sleep, I usually try to get minimum. Like, it just completely changes, just stopping and being like, right, okay, everyone go away, I'm going to bed, and just getting a good night's sleep. It just changes everything. You just feel so much more better. So there's so many things I've implemented, and they're all like, I mean, there's so many things that I have done. And yes, there's wee things that I'll maybe only do for a month or two, or but those are the main things that I'll stick to, as well as there'll be other different things during over time that I'll put in as well. But yeah.
So this question's not for my own ego. This is to, the person maybe considering the academy. There's obviously many different segments and elements to the program, be that the one-to-one calls, the group calls, the WhatsApp chat, the modules, the hub, whatever it is. What was the most valuable for you on this process?
Um, just I, the whole academy community. I remember when I started this program and you'd said, oh, we have I think it was maybe a Monday or a Sunday. I started whatever. No, it must have been a Monday. And it was like, oh, there's call tonight. And you were like, I'll send the link in. And I was like, oh no, like, I don't want to have to speak to anybody else. Like, no, like, don't get me wrong. I'm not, like, I'll speak to everybody. I would say I'm quite a people person, but I was like, I can't really be, I didn't really want this. Like, I don't really want to share this journey with everybody else. But the academy, I was just like, everyone in it is just incredible. And it got to the point where you'd go on calls and certain people wouldn't be there and you'd kind of miss them. Like, oh, I wish they're really good crack, or like they say really good things. Like, where are they tonight? It's just great because for me, I always just thought, everyone else around me's life was all happy and rosy and great. So to actually have people out there who are on the same journey as me at trying to find a more happy and more peaceful life, to be able to share it with them, it's just been great. And we're all sort of on the same, everyone's journey is different obviously, but we're all sort of facing the same sort of struggles, whether it's something as simple as wanting, like not knowing what to cook for dinner, or not having the motivation to go for a walk. Like, it's only a WhatsApp away and someone's like, right, here's what you need to do, way you go, and you just feel so much better. Or I had the same problem, here's what I did. And you just realize that, like, everyone's human. You're not, the way you think, the way you feel isn't wrong, because a lot of the time people close to you don't want to, like friends or family, don't want to admit to you how they feel if they feel negative about something, because obviously you need to care about someone, you don't want to bring them down with your problems. So to have like strangers,
Yeah.
although I would say we're all pretty friendly now, like, to have strangers just be able to tell you, or to be able to talk to them and stuff, it's great. So the fact that there's that community is definitely one of the most valuable things in the academy for me.
So, to the person listening to this who is considering joining the academy, but they're not sure if it's for them, they're not sure if it's going to work, what would you say to them? Like, don't speak to me, speak to the person who's considering the program.
Really, what do you have to lose? I mean, I remember following Ollie on Instagram and he'd sent me a message and I was like, no, I'm not going to reply. And then the day after, I was like, do you know what? I'll just reply and have a wee chat with him. And then got into it, and I remember thinking, oh, what am I doing? Like, I am wasting my time, I'm wasting my money. Like, oh, what have I done? I've just got like sucked into a hole. Like, no, what have I done? And I was so nervous and so apprehensive. And then all he was going on about all these group chats and live workouts, and I was like, oh no, what? Like, I can't. And then a week into it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. Like, I love this. And I was like, I was so glad I did it. Do you know, that it was just so weird that everything was just pointing towards doing it. Like, everything was just running in favor of me doing it. And just the way things lined up. Um, I have absolutely no regrets. Like, where I am today and the things I am doing, I would never have ever dreamed of. Like, honestly, it's just the academy has just opened a whole different world for me. Like, a world where I step outside my comfort zone. Like, I'm doing things, I have things planned for the next few months that like I never would have done. Things that I only dreamt of, I never actually would have done. But with the academy, like, I've just been like, do you know what? I'll just do it. Let's do it. And I feel comfortable. I actually feel comfortable standing outside my comfort zone, and it really excites me. Um, it's probably one of the best. It is the best decision I've ever made in my life because I'm so much happier and healthier, and I'm in incredible shape for it. And it really is all down to the academy. So if you're, seeing what Ollie's posting on Instagram and you're thinking about it and you're like, oh, don't know if I don't, and you're waiting for a sign, this is the sign. The sign is go and text Ollie and just sign up and do it. I mean, you really, what do you have to lose? Like, honestly.
Yeah, like honestly, like it makes me so happy and proud. Because obviously I've just seen you grow, Clara, and it's just been such an amazing journey. I very much sometimes like have this attitude of like, what's the alternative? Like, you don't have to join, like there's no obligation to join anything, right? But
Yeah.
like, what's the alternative? Stay where you are, stay
Yeah.
miserable. Like for me, that's the mentality. So it's better to go inside and actually fail at it than it is to never try at all. And you
Definitely.
did take that risk, you did take that gamble, and it's safe to say it's paid off because you've achieved so much
Hmm.
in terms of your body composition, your mindset, your environment, your routines, your sleep. Honestly, the list is extensive. And I personally couldn't be prouder as your coach of what you've achieved. I obviously know what's coming up in the next couple of months, and that's going to be the biggest achievement. We're not spoiling the surprise, but to stay tuned because it's going to be phenomenal. And yeah, I'm super excited. I'm super proud. And Clara, congratulations for graduating on the academy.